There are a ton of good and bad vehicles in GTA, so today I'm going to be showing you guys the top 10 most disappointing vehicles in GTA. If you disagree with any vehicle on this list, or have any disappointing vehicle that should be on this list, let me know in the comments. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting off, we got the Brawler. This thing is horrendous. Now, if you own the Brawler or you have driven the Brawler, you will know what I'm talking about. Basically, the Brawler is this super cool off-road vehicle that actually does pretty decent off-road. But what if you want to stop? Now, this thing has a weird syndrome of not being able to brake because this thing is not able to brake. This thing can literally take longer than a truck to stop. It's disgusting. And then especially knowing that you're going off-road and things could come in your way unexpectedly, you can literally not stop for anything. So you have to just depend on luck and hope that your driving can save it. On top of that, even though this thing is a vehicle for off-road, this thing still decides to topple over and give you the worst possible time of your life. So the Brawler is disappointing. This is one of the vehicles that I would have thought would have been amazing because it's super cool and it's based off a super cool truck. So yeah, Rockstar fumbled. Rockstar, what the hell are you doing? Next up, we got the Rattel. This again, another vehicle that I thought was really good, but it's actually incredibly shit. Basically, the Rattel is a rear wheel drive buggy that is technically used for dunes. Now, you can actually crash this thing super easily. Literally, your wheels are so separated so that if your wheel hits anything, it will cause your vehicle to spin out, which sucks like shit. Now, because of that, if you're standing still and you're trying to climb a slope, this thing will not climb shit. This thing will climb literally no slopes. It's not even funny. Now you can literally collect a car off the street and drive it up a slope better than the Rattle can. On top of that, it's not even the best off-roader in the game. And again, if you stop, you're cooked. So the Rattle is horrible. It's for literally almost $2 million. It barely has any customization. You should not buy it. Next up, we got the Terminus Police Car. I mean, every police car in the game is disappointing, but this one in particular is incredibly disappointing. Now, first of all, the normal Terminus does have a better suspension than the police variant, meaning that the Terminus can actually offer much better than the police variant. Why are they worse than the normal variants? And this thing can barely off-road because of its super soft suspension, so it barely gets traction, and over small bumps it just loses traction when it's climbing on slopes, and it just cucks itself. It's super bad. On top of that, the normal Terminus also has slicks, which the police car doesn't. And not gonna lie, the police variant does feel like a car which should have slicks over the Terminus, the normal version. So Rockstar, what are you doing, man? Like, why did you do the Terminus police car so bad? It's also so expensive too. Like, it's like 2 to 3 times more expensive than the normal Terminus, and it's worse. Rockstar, come on, man. Please, brother, please give us better police cars. Next up, we got the Jester RR Widebody. I mean, I don't need to really talk about this thing too much because I'm pretty sure the entire community knows why this thing is on this list. Now, everyone thought this vehicle is going to be a Jester RR Benny's conversion, but this turned out to be a car that you can just buy off the website for $2 million. But you'll be like, okay, it's still a wide body then. It literally has no customization. You can pick up a street from the car and it'll have more customization than this vehicle. A 2013 car has more customization than a 2024 car, technically a 2025 car because this thing came in 2024 December. So this is horrible. It literally has a livery you can't remove and it's disgusting. The livery is not even good. It's horrible. Like, how can you make this livery even work? It also has small faults on its fenders and shit with the livery, which sucks. On top of that, the Jester RR also has stance as well as drift tuning, which this thing doesn't. And on top of that, the Jester RR has a better top speed and acceleration than the wide body version. The only thing that the wide body has over the normal Jester RR is the handling, which is disgusting. Come on, Rockstar, you're making us pay $2 million for a downgraded version of the Jester RR. Next up on the list, we got the Ominus. Now, I know many of y'all are confused why the Ominus is on this list, so yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. Now, for many people, this thing is for free, even though this thing actually costs $700,000. Now, if you're wondering how people get this for free, you're basically supposed to get the Criminal Enterprise pack, and over there, this thing is one of the free cars. But if you don't have it, it's for $700,000. And for that price, this thing is horrible. This thing is a super slow car, and yes, it has good turning, but that is mainly because it's so slow. Now, this thing also does suck a little when it's off-roading because of its stiff suspension, so it tends to roll over and take bumps really badly. The Ominus doesn't have a lot of customization either. Now, if you do have the Criminal Enterprise pack and you get this thing for free, then I would say this is definitely worth it. But if you're paying $700,000 for this thing, this is definitely a vehicle you should not be buying, and it's super disappointing because there are many cars that you can buy for under that price that can beat this thing. Just before we carry on with the video, I do want to say that 95.3% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So make sure you subscribe because I'm going to be giving you guys content on all the new things in this DLC as fast as possible. So yeah, let's get back into the video. Next up we got the Patriot Mil-Spec. This is basically the Hummer, and it does have a money tech as well, but it's so bad. Like, this thing is so slow, does not turn, does not brake, and it can't off-road. This thing is horrible when it comes to driving. Yes, it has a mine tech, so you can put a missile lock-on jammer, slicks, machine guns on the front, as well as armor plating, but you can literally buy so many other cars which will perform better than this thing, which are also a money tech. So there's actually no point of getting the Patriot Mil-Spec unless you really want to own it because it is a Hummer, but otherwise this thing is not that good, and especially for driving. If you're standing still and you want to be safe, maybe you can buy this thing, but if you actually want to drive a vehicle, you should not buy this thing. It's so horrible in every terrain. Next up we got the Warner HKR. This was brought in with the Tuners DLC, and this is single-handedly the worst vehicle in that DLC. This thing is a horrible top speed, horrible acceleration, does not turn, and yeah, that's about it. This thing, even for a tuner's vehicle, doesn't even have that much customization, which is super annoying. Because if Rockstar did this thing justice by giving it good performance and good customization, this would probably be one of my favorite tuner cars in the game, as well as for many people, because everyone loved this thing when they saw it, but then completely hated it when they saw how it drove and its customization. You can literally get a better version of this, which is like the normal variant of it without the pickup truck vibe. It's just like a normal vehicle. I don't know the name of it, I'm pretty sure it's just called a Warner, but it's way better than this. And that is like for $100,000 or $200,000, and this thing is like over $1 mil. So it makes no sense to buy this, and it's disappointing, unfortunately. And Rockstar, I hate you for doing what you did to this thing. It's super annoying. Next up we got the Warschlag Hammer. The Warschlag Hammer is an amazing vehicle. I love it, it looks good, and it's based off a car that everyone likes. But Rockstar decided to do something to this vehicle. Now this thing has horrible performance. Horrendous performance. This for some reason has the craziest torque launch on the planet, so because of that this thing doesn't even launch super good. It just starts wheel spinning and you can just lose this thing so easily. It's like this thing is literally given low grips. It's that bad. On top of that, this thing has horrible customization. Like, the customization is just, it does not make sense. Like, what was Rockstar doing here? They could have added so much more good customization, but they decided to just put race kits and shit like that. I don't know why they did this car this dirty. Now you will be saying that this thing has drift tuning, so it isn't that bad. But this thing is one of the worst drift tuning cars in the game, mainly because it's so long and it doesn't initiate drifts that properly. Now if you like the looks of this thing, go ahead, but as a car, if you're getting to drive around in GTA or do races, this thing is horrible. Next up we got the Barrage. This thing is basically like the Warthog from Halo, but it is much worse. This thing is just so bad. It doesn't off-road well, it doesn't have good performance on the road, and if you crash or take crazy jumps, your wheels will get stuck in the ground, which is never seen before. I don't know what is wrong with this vehicle. On top of that, this thing is for some reason super light, from which if it crashes, it just starts spinning out or go in different directions, but when it comes to turning, this thing feels super heavy, so this thing makes no sense. The only way I would say the Barrage is super good is that you can put a machine gun, a minigun, or a grenade launcher on the top of this vehicle, and there'll be two separate turrets, so two people can be shooting two turrets at the same time. But if you're like a solo player, you will not be able to access these weapons, so yeah, it's just horrible. On top of that, you would expect this thing to survive some missiles, because it does look like a vehicle which is super armored, but it just doesn't. You can buy so many better vehicles than the Barrage, which are for like the same price, so don't buy the Barrage. It's horrible, it's a disappointing vehicle, and Rockstar really put this thing in the bin. And next up, the worst vehicle in GTA, the most disappointing vehicle in GTA, and if you buy it, you have done the worst transaction of your life. This thing is the Riot. This thing is so slow, it's so bad, and you cannot even customize it. It's literally a Pegasus vehicle, so this thing will spawn wherever the game wants it to spawn, not next to you, like somewhere across the map or something. Now you'll be like, okay, at least you get a Riot, it's super cool, you can act like a rhino and go against players and shit. But the thing is, if it spawns so far away, you can go to one of the few police stations in the game, such as Sandy Shores Police Station, and you can literally get this thing for completely free, and you will not be getting any benefit of buying it. The Rhino sucks. It's like, why would you even consider buying it when I'm telling you this? If you're like, okay, maybe there is a way in which I could buy this, there's no way, brother. Just give up. it's not good. It's not worth it. Unless you want to waste your money, go ahead, man. Like literally in the background footage, I'm not even driving the purchasable one. I'm literally collecting one from Sandy. I'm not buying that shit. It's way too disappointing. So yeah, just don't buy the Rhino. You'll thank me later. If you have any vehicles that you would replace from this list or add to this list, let me know in the comments.